All right, man, peace. You know, brothers, as many of you know, I've been following the Lavar Ball / Lonzo Ball saga almost since its inception. I remember when Lavar Ball first entered into the public consciousness. I had so many brothers come into my comment section asking me to do a video covering him because he seemed to be a sensation in the sports media world, especially with his brash and cocky delivery, the way in which he seemed to act as an ambassador for his sons, and the very clear way in which he exhibited a ruling class mentality. But let me say this. It's one thing to exhibit a ruling class mentality, but if you're not willing to have the foundation with which to allow that mentality to actually bear fruit, you're pretty much wasting your time. Because there's a difference between being confident and being arrogant. And arrogancy is always going to cease because it's going to be torn up from its roots. Unfortunately for Mr. Lavar Ball, he has destroyed the trust that his son had in him. And it's very important that we understand the interplay between the love between a father and a son. Yes, the son has to honor the father, but the scriptures also tell us that fathers should not provoke their children to anger. I'm going to say it again. Fathers should not provoke their children to anger. I remember in the build-up to the Floyd Mayweather, I believe he was fighting Victor Ortiz. It was the Floyd Mayweather and Victor Ortiz fight, where there was this huge argument that Mayweather Jr. had with his father, Mayweather Sr. And it was very clear to me that the reason why Floyd Mayweather Jr. was so upset and so easily set off by his father was based on baggage that he carried from his youth. The feeling of abandonment that he must have felt when his father got locked up, and also the repeated physical abuse that he states he endured while he was a child in the process of learning the craft of boxing. Every once in a while it spills out, and you could tell that there's still a lot of vitriol within Floyd for his father, even though, like they say, pressure turns coals into diamonds. And that's one thing that the sons have to be aware of. No matter how much resentment you might have for your father, he had a vision for you, and he's the reason why you're there. Now, the mainstream liberal sports media has never liked Lavar Ball. Certain low-level thinking people who are members of society at large never liked Lavar Ball from the start. But Lavar is going to have to take this bullet. There's no doubt about that. I mean, how can you get around it? He talked a lot, and he really was not basing his talk in action. What does that mean? He was not putting in the work from the foundation. In order for him to run a business, he has to understand how to run a business. I did a video a while ago pertaining to the quarterback of the Baltimore Ravens by the name of Lamar Jackson called, "Can You Love Your Mother Too Much?" And within the video, I was just trying to display how the rapport between him and his mother was relatively healthy, even though it was inordinate. His mother plans on being his manager, and I stated that as long as she was getting proper training on how to handle finances, it's not a big deal. I myself am normally not in favor of intermixing business and family, because you should never compromise what your goals are business-wise in order to appease a family member, and unerringly, that is what you're going to have to do if you allow your family to become a part of what you're trying to do, unless you have stone cold protocols that you're going to teach your son after you've already built a business on your own. There's a major difference between a family business that you pass down to your son or your sons or your daughter or your daughters or what have you, and something that you're just trying to run on the fly. And it appears as if Lavar Ball was just trying to run this business on the fly, and he allowed himself to become enraptured by an ex-convict. And this may have cost him a lot of the connection that he had with his boys, which I believe was too controlling anyway. I think that this entire narrative is going to be a gift horse for everyone involved, and you should never look a gift horse in the mouth. I think that Lonzo is going to be able to use this as an excuse to become the person that he wants to be and that he needs to be in order to be considered a future leader of the LA Lakers franchise. Now he can separate himself from his father to a degree and not have to worry about his father showing any form of anger or bitterness about being relatively cut off, at least to the degree that he needs to be cut off. It will also allow the other sons to grow. I just hope that the sons do not allow social media and the media at large to put them in the position where they feel compelled to shun their father, because that's really what they want. They want Lavar Ball to be a public sacrifice to represent the level of disrespect that all children should treat their fathers with, because once again, the patriarchy is constantly under attack in this society. And when it comes to LaVar Ball, they're going to try to act as if, or treat him as if he's a failure. How could he be a failure when he's already raised a son from infancy to be an NBA player? At the end of the day, Lonzo Ball has every reason to be enraged by the fact that his father allowed a con man to steal $1.5 million of his money. But on the flip side, were it not for the plan that LaVar Ball had from before Lonzo was born, he would not even be in the NBA, because LaVar is the person who put the spark in Lonzo to become a professional basketball player. LaVar is the one who talked him up. So as long as Lonzo is able to keep all these things in their proper perspective, this is going to end up being a good thing. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
Well, get this. Lonzo Ball is done with Big Baller Brand. ESPN reported this weekend that Lonzo cut ties with his father's company because of concerns with his dad's friend, Alan Foster, who is a part owner of the company. Ball said that Foster, quote, used his access to my business and personal finances to enrich himself. Lonzo is apparently missing about $1.5 million from his personal and business accounts and is pointing the finger at Foster. We're joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Good morning.
Good morning.
I will start with...
Let me say this. The vast majority of these television pundits are very happy for this, because they could not stand LaVar. This brown-toothed dude who will come on their station at a moment's notice and make all of them look bad. He used to make Shannon Sharp look so bad. He was the only guy that I've ever seen be able to talk over Shannon Sharp.
With Shannon here, though, what's your reaction to this story?
Sad. I'm disappointed.
You also feel like many of the statements that you've made about LaVar have now been validated. That's how you feel, brother. Don't act like you don't. I'm not saying that you're not being truthful. I'm not saying that you're being disingenuous, but there is a component that you're leaving out.
If these allegations are true, that someone, and it's normally family, someone that's close to you, that you trust, although this guy's not blood related, but he's almost like family, he trusted it. LaVar was supposed to be overlooking this also, but I believe LaVar spread himself too thin.
I agree with that. I think that LaVar was trying to control his boy's basketball career, and he left the company in charge of Alan Foster. And brothers, I've made videos about this in the past. The only person that you should be trusting with your money is you. That's it. There's probably only 1 in every million people who actually can preside over someone else's money and not feel compelled to take some of it or try to quote unquote invest it in something else with the idea that they're going to bring back all the money that they took once they're able to make a profit on their investment. It's very rare that someone's going to be born with that caliber of dignity and integrity. Most people, I mean, to be quite honest with you, when they're involved with someone else's money, most people become rats.
You mean like overseeing it?
Overseeing everything.
Right.
You know, he's trying to get Jello into the NBA. He's trying to get LaMelo to a school.
Yep.
He's trying to get Jello.
He's got a water company. He's trying to grow Big Baller. And while you're doing all this, there's someone siphoning money from your elder son.
Allegedly.
Yeah. And it's just sad that this is happening. I'm glad Lonzo is starting to, it looks like he's starting to take ownership of his career.
Sure.
What I think is happening with Lonzo is that he's had a lot of people in his ear, making him feel embarrassed that he has such a close connection with his father, and now this is going to be the appropriate excuse. I think that LeBron James has been in Lonzo's ear for a good period of time, trying to encourage him to separate from his father, and now this is the excuse that he'll need or that he can utilize to do so.
Sure.
I mean, if you take his Instagram post at face value,
Yep.
he says, I'm a man now, I'm going to be my man, I'm moving in a different direction. It reported that the Lakers think that the big ball and shoe might have had something to do with
The big baller shoe.
But they asked Lonzo, you think it's the shoe?
Yeah.
It's got to be the shoe.
This is what we don't play.
Playing in buddies, all right? You know what that
I know what buddies are. But normally when you start a shoe, there's a lot of R&D that goes into that shoe. I don't know how much research and development went into Big Baller brand. I'm just saying, Skip,
Did you get yours? I don't know.
Now they gonna start clowning this shoe. Look, brother, I said this for the longest time. When they put the price at $495, I had no problem with it. You know why? Because they were trying to utilize psychological pricing to make people believe that it was something exclusive. If you feel like paying $495 for a pair of sneakers, you go ahead and do so. I was never going to do that, but if the brother felt like that's how he was going to market his business, that's his business. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that your shit is of the highest quality, because if it's not, it's going to come back to you on the back end.
No, did you ever get them?
I did, yeah.
And what do you think of?
Yeah. Why you think Brown got mad? You know, I wore them shits around the house, messed up the carpet.
I held them. They look all right, but
I got the first model. If I was the first model. Now, if I was a security guard with a flashlight, you know what I'm trying to be. They good for that. But that's about it.
They're the security ones. The triple B security ones.
Not an endorsement.
But here's the thing. If I'm Lonzo, Skip, do you know this guy's resume? This guy was sentenced to more than...
That's why Lonzo got so upset. When he found out about that guy's past, that's enough to make you look at your father and lose respect for not only his business acumen, but his basic level of intelligence. And that's the importance of honoring your parents, because when you have those feelings, or when you're compelled to view your parents in a different way, that's when you have to check yourself and say, this is the person who raised me, who reared me, who protected me, and made sure that I had shelter and food and drink in my stomach. So when you start to think that you're too big to respect your father because he made a grievous error like this, you still have to keep things in their proper perspective. There are going to be a lot of people all good. I knew that this guy was an idiot. He was a bum. He was a this. He was a that. Businesses fail every day. Relationships fail every day. You get knocked down, you get your ass back up, and you keep moving forward to the best of your ability. That's how it works. At the end of the day, Lonzo Ball is still breathing. He's in the NBA because of his father. He must understand that. His father made a terrible mistake. This was the mechanism that the Most High is using to push Lonzo into the next stage of his life. Take it for what it is. Deal with it. Move on.
More than 7 years pleading guilty to mail fraud and 2 counts of money laundering, defrauding 70 investors of $4 million.
Wow. That's big time laundering right there. This dude, Alan Foster, is someone who's going to mess with the wrong person's money and is going to end up getting found somewhere.
And you put him in charge of the money? Come on, Skip.
Skip.
A guy got arrested, spent time in prison for mail fraud and embezzling, and you put him in charge of the money. That makes no sense. You can't. There's no way. I don't care.
Lavar gonna hire a career burglar to guard his house. Never lost.
Care if it's my brother. My brother gonna do time for stealing money. He can't be in charge of my money. Now somebody else might be fool enough to let him be in charge, but he can't be in charge of mine. So I'm sorry, Lonzo. I hope this is not true, and if it is true, I hope you can recoup everything.
Yeah, I truly hope that this is not true myself, but it appears that it is true, because supposedly Lavar led a meeting with his sons where they conferred about whether or not they should dissolve the business.
But Skip, man, people don't know. People ain't gonna do it. I lost some money one time. I lost a big chunk of money one time, and I want to put that thing to his head.
Oh, you was gonna get that ratchet, Shannon? You gonna tune his ass up, brother?
Real talk, Skip Bayless.
Real talk, Skip. I was about to unload. And Skip, when I say unload, I mean blocka, 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 blocka. But Braun talked me out of it.
But you know what I'm saying? You know what? I go to jail. I'm going to go, because I'm going to go to jail. I know I'm going to go to jail. And then my kids were very young then. It wasn't 1.5, it was 500,000, Skip. And the dude took it. A lot of dudes took it. And I really...
Wow. Some dude just straight took 500,000. Oof. Good Lord.
I really thought about it. I really did think.
I'm sure you did.
I did think about it. Friend? No, it wasn't a friend. It's somebody, I trust. Someone, this guy's doing a good job. I mean, at first he was doing a good job. Yeah. But all good things come to an end. And,
You was about to make his life come to an end, huh, brother?
I'm glad the discretion was...
See, when those type of moments reach you, and I hope that nothing like that ever happens to you brothers out there, but at the end of the day, you have to try to regain your composure, pray on it, meditate on it, count, whatever you need to do. Make sure that you keep things in their proper perspective, because that spirit will jump on you. I say this all the time. There are a lot of good dudes who are locked up for doing certain things that probably the person that they did it to deserved it. But just because someone deserves to have something done to them does not mean that you should do it, especially if it's going to cost you your freedom. But I can only imagine somebody stealing $500,000 like that. Whew, man, wow.
I thought about it, but man, this is 1.5 million is a lot of money. Right. First of all, if it's $2, I worked hard to get those $2.
Like yesterday, Skip, I walk around my house. Normally I keep a dollar bill in each one of my penny loafers. Dollar bills is gone. I look at bro and I said, nigga, you took my money. Well, that's a whole other story, Skip. I won't change the subject.
And you took my money.
Yeah. I'm with you, Shannon. This is sad, number one. We know this guy, Alan Foster's been up here. We've all had, Lavar's been on the show.
He comes every time with Lamar.
Yeah, seemed like a nice guy.
He runs their social media.
He runs a lot of shit.
So it was sad. When I saw the story and his picture, I was just stunned because you had dealt with this guy. And also for all the mistakes that Lavar has made, and there's plenty, with all three of his sons. Yeah. I mean, LiAngelo should still be at UCLA.
Sure.
LiAngelo wasn't going to play. I mean, look, everybody's talking about how Lavar pulled his son out of UCLA. No, LiAngelo got himself in trouble stealing them sunglasses. And Lavar pulled, quote-unquote, Jello out of UCLA because he knew his son was never going to play that season. And what little chance Jello may have had to become an NBA player was going to evaporate. That's what happened there. In all reality, he probably should have left him there and allowed him to get some type of education, because Jello does not seem to be the sharpest knife in the drawer.
LaMelo should still have college eligibility.
Right.
If he hadn't gone there. I mean, he's done some major mistakes with those kids. However, you could always say it seemed like he meant well.
Yeah.
And I think...
Let me say this, because everybody's going to get on Lavar now. They're going to revisit all the decisions that he's made in the past, and they're going to claim that he's made these terrible mistakes. There are people who are making major mistakes with their children. Okay? Right now, Charlize Theron is making a major mistake with a young black boy that supposedly she's raising as a female. Okay? That's a major mistake. What LaVar Ball has done is raise his kids according to his vision. And he may have done some things that you disagree with. He may have made some bad decisions over the course of trying to establish a business. But he's been placed under more scrutiny than any father who I would call a success that I've ever seen. Once again, he does have to pay for his simplicity in trying to establish a business with a criminal. And he should be raked over the coals for that, especially by his son Lonzo. But once again, this is an excuse for Lonzo to move forward and become a bigger and better person, and not allow the random people and the outside noise to encourage you to act as a member of a lynch mob against your own father.
I think he did mean well, and he loved this family. So what I hope, because there's reports that the kids have removed the pictures of their dad and Big Baller Brand from Instagram. I hope that the family is not estranged. Now, obviously, you got to get rid of Alan Foster.
Yeah.
Yes, that was a bit troubling. When I heard all that, it made me think that there's something rotten in Denmark going on there, why all the sons would remove everything that has to do with their father.
Yeah, but hopefully, and the dad, I mean, not looking at the emails. You mentioned putting the guy in charge of the money. That was terrible. Not looking at the email from the agent. They sent it in October about all the misdeeds financially. Reportedly, Lavar didn't look at it until a week ago. So that's horrible. So I get why if they're mad with their dad, I get it. But hopefully they will be able to work it out as a family. And
that's one thing that I have to give LeBron James a great deal of credit for. The cast that he empowered, they're more focused on doing their part than seeing what they could siphon from LeBron.
And just be a regular family. Like the dad, you're not involved with my business. You're just a dad. You're just a dad. Now, I think, like you said, it's great for Lonzo. He hashtagged on Instagram, my own man. I didn't like him putting the number 2 in the rafters. Just become a legitimate starter first.
I actually like that because at least Lonzo shows some level of swag. He's going to have that type of verve about him and that type of aura about him if he's going to be a success in the NBA. Because thus far, he's been far too demure.
First, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. But I think we're going to see the best of Lonzo, like whatever that is, whether that's an all-star like Skip may think, or that's just a good starter, whatever. I think he's going to get a better trainer.
Yes.
I think he'll be healthier, whether it's the sneakers or not. I just think we'll see the best of Lonzo going forward. And I would say this, Shannon.
Let me also say this. Since Chris Broussard brings up the trainer of the Ball Boys, they showed a clip of them doing dips and pull-ups in their backyard. They had the worst form of any person doing calisthenics that I've ever seen, especially for their father to be a quote-unquote personal trainer. Their form was horrific.
Shannon, and maybe you can relate to it. Sometimes, and I've been a victim in the black community with the racism historically, and that still goes on today with mass incarceration, with the war on drugs. I know guys that have spent many years in prison. I got some friends that spent many years in prison. And a lot of times you give them the benefit of the doubt. Because you may think they may have done something wrong, or maybe the system, caught up with them,
or maybe they just caught up with the system. Right now, Chris Broussard is trying to digress into his wokey-woke shit. Let me say this, brothers, once again. We can continue to use the quote-unquote system as an excuse for making bad decisions. But as long as we live in a world where there are options, whenever you end up choosing the wrong thing, you have to blame yourself before you blame the system. Even a rat learns when it sees one of its fellow rats get caught in a certain type of trap. I'm not going to dip my head in that same trap. That's why scientists will always give the rat a great deal of credit for its learning ability. So the so-called black man cannot blame the system when he understands what the system is trying to do. Brothers have to step their game up and stop always glorifying criminality and saying, well, the reason why he's locked up is because he embraced a lifestyle or a life choice where he had no options. No, he had poor parenting or he had poor decision-making abilities. That's what he had.
Or you think they're rehabilitated. And now I wouldn't have put him in charge of the money, like you said. But I've been burned by, I haven't lost money, and obviously not to this extent, but I've been disappointed. I trusted.
We've all been disappointed. That's a part of life. I absolutely agree with you on that one.
Some guys that have been in prison that I thought they would change their behavior. I thought, and I've ended up disappointed because they didn't act like I thought they would. And so No, they didn't act like you hoped they would. It's a major difference. I don't think that you thought they were going to act a certain way. You hoped that they were going to act a certain way. Because if you were thinking, you have to base your thoughts on their previous behavior. You have to base your thoughts about them on precedent. You hoped. I can understand when Lavar said, I believe the best in people. I can understand how he may have.
Well, you know what? That's where I have to cut you off. Because we cannot believe in the best in people. We have to believe what we've seen, what they've shown. We have to hope that they're concerned with becoming a better version of themselves.
They have known about this guy's background, but still thought, this is my man, I can trust him.
He wouldn't do that to me.
He was burned.
He wouldn't do that to us, Skip.
Right.
People are going to do what they do.
So obviously, I remain a big Lonzo fan, basketball-wise. This just tears me up for how hard his father made it for this kid.
Skip Bayless, you need to stop. Let me say this. Lavar did a very good job of creating so much intrigue and interest around his son. And like they say, in order to make an omelet, you have to break a few eggs. As I've told you, brothers, and I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of these guys in the comments, see, I told you about Lavar. I told you. Look, I don't want to hear none of that dumb shit. At the end of the day, when you dare to be great, you have to understand that you have to go according to a leap of faith. And when you leap off that cliffside, it's a very good possibility that you're going to land and destroy yourself. Businesses come under great scrutiny and they're dissolved every day. This was a very severe example of that phenomenon, but at the end of the day, Lonzo is still alive. And you have to take the positives out of everything. And at the end of the day, yes, we can all lynch LaVar Ball, but he still made his sons what they are.
Because not only did he just about talk him straight out of the league as the number 2 overall pick, playing point guard for Magic Johnson in his home area of Los Angeles. That's hard enough. But when you say he's better than Steph, he's better than LeBron, blah, 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 it just makes it harder and harder. And we all hark back to Patrick Beverley on opening night. Just said, I'm going to just
To hell with Patrick Beverley.
destroy this kid, and I'm going to point to you in the stands, LaVar, because this is for you, not for this poor kid, because he's just
All that poor kid stuff is bullshit. The NBA is for wolves. And Lonzo's going to have to show that he's a wolf if he means to survive. That's the bottom line of it. There's no mercy in the NBA.
NBA baby. I don't know what, this has got to be devastating, embarrassing, completely distracting when you're trying to play basketball and you got this hanging over your head. And this is why I'm so...
Well, the good news is that we won't see Lonzo again for the rest of this season. He can clean up all the bullshit, come back next season stronger, faster, healthier, wiser, and build on this little stumbling block and turn it into a stepping stone.
I'm so disappointed in LaVar. And I've defended him many times on this show just because he loves his kids to a fault. But LaVar is straight out of Compton, and I thought he had one of the highest BS detectors you could have because...
Now, that's a good point.
Because he knows the streets.
Right.
He
Allegedly.
He should be able to see it and feel it before it happens. And I'm pretty sure he knew nothing about Alan Foster's background. And when he met Alan Foster...
Or he did, and like Chris Broussard stated, he just thought, this guy will not do this to me. You see, a lot of cats, because they have this focus on black businesses and what we're going to do to control our own destiny, they believe that every person of color, quote unquote, or every so-called black person that they come into contact with is going to be supportive of their vision. Most people in general in this society think like a slave. They have an employee mindset. They cannot even comprehend wanting to control their own destiny, wanting to run their own business. They just don't have that mindset. So you can talk all that stuff all you want. Unless you run into another person, unless you're fortunate enough to encounter someone else who thinks like that and also has integrity, it's going to be very difficult for you to build something like that as a so-called black man.
Foster, he was fresh out of prison for financial fraud. Worse, if you go back to his records, Alan Foster had gotten busted on a gun charge, carrying a weapon without a permit, and then he violated his probation on top of that. And then he went to, and listen what the prosecutor said about the financial prosecuting of Alan Foster. He says they targeted African Americans that they got to know through churches and by other means, and they made various misrepresentations of them about their ability to return large sums on investments, which were false. Now that's just the lowest of the low to me.
Agreed, but that's what sharks do. Sharks look for small fish.
And that's the guy you chose because he had a son who was in 7th grade with Lonzo at Chino Hills, whatever that middle school would be there, right? And because the sons became buddies, then all of a sudden Alan Foster was able to buddy up with LaVar, and LaVar just completely bought in and trusted it. And he got flim-flammed, allegedly. Allegedly. Now think about that. LaVar Ball straight out of Compton getting flim-flammed. I don't think it was like my...
Well, that's the main reason why Lonzo's so upset. And now, on Instagram, Lonzo has his manager throwing the big baller brand sneakers down the trash chute. So he's done.
Like a friend, he just got to know him, but you got to check people's backgrounds. I just don't think he knew anything about this.
I bet he knew that he had been in prison.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with Broussard.
Yeah, because he probably knows a lot of guys that have been in prison.
For financial fraud, and then you hand him the keys to your
Maybe he didn't know he was in for financial fraud.
Right.
Maybe, like you said, the gun charge kept. But the thing is, and you see that a lot of times.
He probably didn't know what it was.
The vulnerable is in church because the last place you expect to be a victim of is in the church.
I know it.
No, but you ain't.
You want to believe the people,
you ain't gonna.
They trying to live for God.
What did they say? Will a man rob God?
Right.
No, he might not rob God, but he'll get you.
He sure will. He sure will.
But that's a man who has no soul.
None.
No
None.
soul.
See, and see, Skip, and when it make you want to hurt somebody, man.
Absolutely.
This man done worked all his life. I mean, Lonzo worked all his life to be in this situation. And you just took this man's money. Maybe if you just asked, well, Lonzo, can you invest in this? Don't take me. I hate that. I hate
Allegedly, there's a missing 1.5 million.
And look, that whatever he's gonna go with Nike, it appears, he's not getting a $10 million deal from them that he would have.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he's 20 years old, 21 years old. As long as he keeps himself healthy, he should have at the very least a 10-year NBA career, especially in this wide open style. It's not as important that he's not effective in a half-court offensive set. He just needs to build his body up. He'll make all that money up in the long run. And in addition to that, now he's going to have more people in his corner, especially if he appears to separate from his father. So if Lonzo and Lavar play this right, they can make this into a very lucrative situation for them both. If Lavar can communicate with Lonzo, you know what? Go ahead. Separate yourself from me in public. I'll be the fall guy. You sign your contract with Nike or whatever. You go ahead and ball out. And then maybe down the line, we'll start something just me and you. And if Lavar is truly serious about becoming a businessman, he can go to school and learn and understand business. When Floyd Mayweather first started out as a boxer, Leonard Ellaby was just a corner man. For those of you who don't know, Leonard Ellaby is Floyd's right-hand man. Leonard started out as a person who went from gym to gym back in the late 70s, early 80s, watching famous fighters train and learning certain secrets on how to make fighters better. He attended some of Muhammad Ali's fight camps in the late 70s, Ray Leonard in the late 70s, early 80s, some of Mike Tyson's training camps. He ended up becoming associated with Mayweather and was a main corner man for him in the mid to late 90s. And Floyd Mayweather sent him back to school. He got his business degree, and now he's a millionaire himself because of his acumen. And number one, because Floyd knows that he can trust him. Trust is an integral part of any relationship, of course, especially business. But any relationship dynamic, if you don't have trust, you can't have anything else.
Would have gotten before.
You would have.
It might just be we'll give you the product and you can wear it because you're just an average player at this point. And the good thing is he found out quickly. This is what his second year.
Yes.
Remember Kevin Garnett lost $77 million.
Absolutely.
I know Tim Duncan. I know other players who've had friends that they brought along with them who, were
Antoine Walker.
Were taking money on the side. So at least he found out.
But Skip, I had this comment, and remember, I told you, Skip, I said, you got to be careful. I said, you be overbearing, and the kids will turn up bucking and resenting their parents.
Yep.
Absolutely. Once again, that's why the scriptures say, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger.
Tom Marinovich,
I know.
when his dad became overbearing, and this and yada, 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 these kids want their own identity. It's hard for me to believe. I don't believe Big Baller was ever about the kids. Big Baller was about Lonzo.
Yeah.
I don't believe Big Baller was ever about the kids.
Yeah.
Lavar.
Oh,
This
it is
was
kind of
him.
By
sad,
the way,
though.
there's another BBB called Better Business Bureau. It still gives them an F, says ESPN. It gives them an F because they are not capable of handling online orders.
It might be hard at this point for Lonzo, but maybe a fresh start in the end is going to be a better situation.
I absolutely agree. Lonzo plays this right. He's going to come out on top down the line because he is going to get a lot of public sympathy. So all he has to do is make sure that, he handles his business when it comes to his training. Lavar, for his role, he's finally going to have to fall into the background. He's going to have to fall into the background for a while.
And maybe he gets that situation resolved with Alan Foster. He gets this situation resolved with his dad. And Skip, then maybe he can be the player that you believe he can become.
Yeah, and that's what we're rooting for.
That's been an albatross on you. You got to live up to that.
Yeah, it's a lot to live.
No, the albatross is that my back pocket is light because somebody
Lonzo going to be coming to Laker practice on his bicycle.
allegedly somebody
That's
a lot of money.
Yeah,
That's $3 million because he in California. They take 50% of your money, so somebody stole $3 million of your dollars.
He's still on.
Hey, yo, Shannon got no chill, man. He the type to see Lonzo in the street. Damn, you look broke as shit. You okay? Lonzo walking down the street with just one shoe on. He can only afford one shoe. God damn, Lonzo. What's up with you and your pops? Y'all okay? You want to come by me and Brown House? We'll give you a mustard sandwich or something? I mean, shit.
On that rookie deal, too.
Okay, the Lakers, guys, well, they're not going to be going to the playoffs, but that didn't stop LeBron.
But anyway, that's basically it on that. We'll see how things turn out for Lavar and Lonzo. But once again, this is something that they can bounce back from. Much worse things have happened. We already know how the media is going to play it and how a lot of low-level thinking people are going to take advantage of it, because that's what people do. They wait for you to be at your moment of adversity so that they can harp over you and claim that they were right and crow and so on and so forth. But to a degree, Lavar deserves this. Not because he was someone who believed in himself, but because he put forth a false notion of what he was doing. I didn't care about any of the tough talk, the trash talk, etc., as long as I believe he was in command of his fiduciary commitments. But it appears as if he divested control over his business to someone who was not even a family member, number one, and number two, had a very shady background. So it is what it is. Best wishes to Lavar and Lonzo. I do believe that they're both going to become better people because of this whole situation. So peace.